Dior has been hit by three, not one, not two, but three class action lawsuits. Let's get to it. This is insanity. Now, everything I say in this video is for entertainment purposes only, not rooted in truths or facts. Everything's a legend, just my opinion. Good luck, LVMH. You're gonna need it. And Paris is shook, honey. Paris is shook that Dior is being dragged through the mud. Christian Dior, as reported by topclassactions.com, hit by three separate lawsuits over data breach or data breach. Now, you remember a couple of weeks ago, I also almost want to say a couple of months ago, we've been talking about this. Quite a few of my subscribers and viewers have written me telling me, Dacob, oh my gosh, you sent me like screenshots because you received emails from LVMH and Dior because you are clients of Dior and you purchased some stuff, whether in their shops or online from the Dior website. And many of you have written me, sending me screenshots saying, Dacob, look, Dior sent me this message saying, oopsie daisy, we're so sorry, but our data has been breached, hacked, whatever. So, yeah, all of your personal information that we had, or part of the personal information from you that we have, is now in the interwebs, just roaming freely for everybody to utilize as they please. Oops. So you might think, well, this is kind of on the regular, it's terrible, but it happens a lot, almost on a weekly basis. We get these notifications from some website online saying, sorry, data has been breached, blah, blah, blah. But here's the plot twist, and here's why these class action lawsuits are slightly different than what you might think they are. Because yeah, potentially you could find a lawyer that would want to sue for a data breach because you could claim that Dior did not have the right infrastructure set in place to defend the data, what have you. But the problem in this case is the claimants claim that Dior did not disclose the data breach in a acceptable time. By that, they mean that the data breach happened somewhere in May of 2025, but the people were notified in July of 2025, not before. Now, everything I say in this video, like I said, is for entertainment purposes only, not rooted in truths or facts. Everything's a legend, just my opinion. Let's get to all the points and figure out if there's a case or not here. So the website has classified everything to simplify the story, the top class actions, in who, why, where, and how to get help. Because quite a few of you have written me that Dior wrote you that your data has been breached. Well, that's why I'm making this video now, because there's also information here in case you have received such intel from Dior officially, you can join the class action lawsuit. Potentially. So who? Three consumers filed separate class action lawsuits against Christian Dior, Inc. Why? The plaintiffs claim Christian Dior failed to properly secure and safeguard consumer information during a recent data breach. Where? The Christian Dior data breach class action lawsuits were filed in New York federal court. How to get help. Did you receive a letter notifying you that your information was compromised in a data breach? See if you're eligible to pursue compensation, and then there's like a link to click, and I will be posting it then underneath the video when I post the video later on. Three consumers have filed separate class action lawsuits alleging the company failed to properly secure and safeguard consumer information. Plaintiff Ralph Nguyen claims Christian Dior failed to protect personally identifiable information, PII, in short, such as names, dates of birth, home addresses, phone numbers, and driver's license, or even passport numbers. Now, why passport numbers, you might ask? Well, a lot of these high-end luxury brands, most of you know, but some of you might not know, they have a limit on how many items you are allowed to purchase in a given amount of time, 1 to 2 month span, or sometimes per visit. So, in order for them to maintain some form of track record, who's buying what, they want to know when you are buying an item, they want to see your profile, your customer profile. Now, is it sketchy? I've always thought that this was a shady practice by these brands, like to ask for your passport when you're purchasing a bag, because like Chanel used to have, I don't know right now what they have anymore with their limitations, but they used to have like you can't purchase more than like 2 classic bags in 3 months or something like that. So they want to keep track, like, and if you're going to purchase three, the store manager, the boutique manager can technically override the limits if they want to, but then they have to write like an explanation to corporate, like why they're letting you do it, that they are sure, they vouch for you, that you're not a reseller. This is all set in place to avoid parallel markets, resellers. But I always found it quite sketchy that a brand asks you at the cash register, hey, can you like give us your passport so we file everything accordingly into your profile so that we can make sure that you're not purchasing too much of one item. And that moment when they ask you for a passport, I think in some countries they're not allowed to. I think in California there's also a law where like if you tell them no, I'm not giving you my passport, like they still have to sell you the product. In some European countries, they're not going to sell you a product if you don't want to comply with their internal rules and regulations. Like they're going to tell you, sorry, we cannot sell you the bag if we cannot look up your customer profile. Like you can buy some other product maybe that is not considered like limited and desirable. So it's very iffy. It's a very iffy situation. I've been in that situation many times, and I'm just like, when they ask you for your like passport, you know what I mean? Like some identification, you're like, yeah, I don't think I want to give that to you, but I really want to buy the product. So you kind of comply with their demands, but it feels icky to me when that happens. Now, after many years of having built a relationship with my sales associate, they know me by face, so they don't ask for documents from me because they know my name by heart. They see me in the system. If I want to buy 3 bottles of a perfume instead of 2 because I'm stocking up before the price increase, they will override the limit for me. They know I'm not a reseller. Like, they can do that. But if they don't know you and you look sus to them, they're going to want to see the whole system to know, Hermes. I'm not just talking Chanel. I'm also talking Hermes, Dior, Louis Vuitton. They all do this shtick, right? Hermes is even more strict with their quota bags. You can imagine. They want to have you in the system. When I bought my Birkin and I was not in the country where it was delivered. It was a long story. Go check out my unboxing of my Birkin. I had to send my friend, and it's all documented. We were filming the whole thing, her picking it up. It was like going to a freaking embassy of another country. I mean, I had to send Hermes all documentation to prove who I am, like my residency papers, my passport, everything. And then I had to get my friend approved to pick up my bag that I paid for. So then I had to send them her ID, the date when she would arrive, the time. Like, I'm like, you already have my money. I already paid. So she just has to pick it up. Let her pick it up. No, they had to be sure that she's really connected to me, that we are friends, that I did not pay for the bag for her to pick up and resell. It's insanity. So you can imagine these companies have a lot of our data, and they collect it for many different reasons. Now, when it's breached, shit goes down because a lot of their clients are very wealthy. So you can imagine if somebody hacks their system, they can gain access to all the stuff you purchased. They see how much money, potentially, they see how much money you've spent with the brand, and they can see, oh, you're a person who spent maybe $200,000 in just 4 months. Okay, that person has money. Let's see the address. Where do they live? They hacked into the system, so now they see the address. They see your telephone number, license plate, passport number, and before you know it, they're at your doorstep, breaking in and stealing your stuff. So yeah, you think Dior should have taken it a little bit more seriously with these data breaches? I think they should have. I think they should have maybe invested even more money to make it even more secure. So, are these lawsuits, these class action, these three separately filed class action lawsuits, are they warranted? You be the judge. Fact is, they're happening. So, Nguyen argues that on or about May 7th, 2025, an unauthorized actor gained access to Christian Dior's network and exfiltrated consumer data or data. Christian Dior did not notify consumers of the data breach until on or about July 18th, 2025. That's June, July. That's 2 months later, basically. 2.5 months later, clients were notified. So for 2.5 months, these hackers had your intel, and you had no clue that they had your intel. In those 2.5 months, they could have come to your house and broke in. You were not warned that that was a potential threat because Dior took their good time, 2.5 months almost, to let clients know of the data breach. You see the problem? Christian Dior did not notify consumers of the data breach until July 18th, according to the data breach class action, Nguyen claims. Christian Dior did not notify. Christian Dior's alleged factor during Christian Dior breach was okay. So Nguyen claims Christian Dior's alleged failure to protect consumer data during the Christian Dior data breach was due to its negligent acts and omissions. The class action, Christian Dior failed to properly secure, safeguard consumer data. Plaintiffs Raveen Bhatt and Portia Marie Smithson, I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce the name correctly, filed a separate class action lawsuit against Christian Dior Inc. and Christian Dior Couture SAS, arguing the companies failed to secure and safeguard PII of consumers during the data breach. And we quote, Dior required its consumers to provide it with sensitive PII, which is what I explained to you earlier, and failed to protect it. Bhatt and Smithson allege Dior had an obligation to secure customers' PII by implementing reasonable and appropriate data security safeguards. Plaintiff Beata Toikach made similar allegations in a separate class action lawsuit, claiming she has already spent significant time monitoring her financial accounts for signs of unauthorized activity and will continue to do so for years to come. Nguyen, Bhatt, and Smithson and Toikach each demand a jury trial and request declaratory and injunctive relief and an award of actual statutory, consequential, and nominal damages for themselves and all class members. And then there's more. It says here, earlier in July, also of this year, 2025, fashion brand Victoria's Secret was also hit with a data breach lawsuit alleging the retailer failed to implement industry standard security measures, which resulted in an intrusion that occurred on or about May 27th, 2025. There you go. Nguyen is represented by Zain C. Hedaya of the law offices of Gibrail S. Hindi and Manuel S. Hiraldo of Hiraldo P.A. Bhatt and Smithson are represented by Jason P. Salzer of Salzer and Lipari PLLC. Good luck to all the lawyers involved. Let me know your thoughts down below. And have you received this email from Dior as well? Let me know down below. Love you loads. Subscribe. Thumb up the video. Never give up on love. Bye.